amazing morning, everyone. Thank you for that wonderful introduction.
Thank
Your kind invitation for me to be your keynote speaker today gave me the permission to travel back in time, to revisit how my life has changed because of two words: mindset and mileage. Mindset, as we know, is our way of thinking, our outlook in life, our psyche. It is what makes us tick as people. Mileage means traveling the distance, magnitude, or compass. I was born into a mindset that tells me I amount to nothing. Here's my story. I have been rejected from the womb, was given away when I was a 2-week-old baby, and I was raised by strangers who then became my three lovely spinster mothers. I was forgotten by my biological parents until this day. Earlier in life, I was frequently reminded that I cannot go any farther because I have nothing special to offer. My bio portfolio is not sterling enough. I was not educated in prestigious schools. As a matter of fact, I was educated in public school. Luck was everywhere. I had no family to support my dreams. I cannot go far. I came to know a story about a boy buying balloons at a street in New York. The boy asked an old man selling, "Sir, if I buy more yellow colored balloons, will they fly higher than the red ones?" The old man was surprised to hear such question. He thought for a brief moment and then he answered, "Young son, it is never in the color of the balloons that will make it fly higher than the rest, but it always depends on the kind of air it has inside it." That story inspired me to check what kind of air I have inside me. I have it had compelled me to change how I think. It changed my inner self-talks. I started telling myself that it doesn't matter if I was born poor, if my parents didn't have, the tenacity to really take care of me and they didn't want me for whatever circumstance, then for as long that for as long as I have that helium spirit, I will thrive. So the question today is, how did I fortify my mind so I can create new mindset and mileages in my life? First, I have to make a stand whether to see the glass as half full or half empty. My mind is set to always seeing the glass as half full up to being full. I became a student of Martin Seligman, the founding father of positive psychology. I learned optimism and made it my friend as my gray and dark days. I learned the three cognitive distortions that tend to underpin the way we understand our experiences. I learned the three P's: personalization, pervasiveness, and permanence. By tackling these three distortions, I learned to be more optimistic. The first P, personalization, is about the internal versus external attribution style. If something bad happens, a pessimist will attribute it to external or to internal factors, I should say. He will say that failure or setback is his fault. He will personalize the outcome. An optimist, on the other hand, will externalize instead. An optimist would say that there are external situations that permitted the outcome. And he says, next time may be better. I have to change how I internalize. I had a teacher back in high school who exposed my story in front of my classmates. She said, I was born by a prostitute mother and most likely I will be like my biological mother. My pessimist self said she's right. But when I rescripted that dialogue in my mind, I said, this SARS story will change. It will not end as she predicted. Pervasiveness describes the global or specific element of adversity or negative event. A global or pervasive attribution is pessimistic and closely related to catastrophizing. Like when we say, I did a terrible job, I'll never be hired again, ever. Or someone who views an undesirable outcome as pervasive will also be more inclined to believe that it will impact others in their lives. It means saying, I'm a bad student, I'm unlovable, etc., etc. Optimists see positive events as pervasive. It can be argued rather than negative. The last P I learned was about permanence. Permanence is about whether we view a negative situation as fleeting or lasting and unchangeable. A pessimistic explanatory style sounds something like, I'll always be a terrible dancer. It's just who I am. It's how it is. A positive one sounds like more like, I probably didn't dance so well because my leg is currently hurt, but I'll be back on top soon. Now, the key takeaway here is that the situation or circumstances are not fixed or unchangeable. I remember that moment I got my university entrance test results. I went to my first mom and I asked if she can raise funds I needed to travel to show up in the university. Anyway, all the tuition fee will be covered 100% as I was a university scholar. She went over the conversation. She agreed to go to my aunt and borrow money. Over their conversation, I overheard my mom dissuading my mom, saying, why would you invest in her? She will turn up as prostitute like her mom anyway. We hold the locus of control in our lives. This has been very clear to me. As Martin Seligman would say, life inflicts the same setbacks and tragedies on the optimist as on the pessimist, but the optimist weathers them better. Second, I fortify my psychological immune system. This means that I take it as my responsibility to make intelligent decisions. Have you ever caught yourself saying, I need to shift to another course because my parents told me so? Or I need to resign from my current job because my brother is asking me to. Or I'm breaking up with him. Time to swipe left. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe said in his poem, I am a decisive element. He said, and let me quote, I have come to the frightening conclusion that I am the decisive element. It is my personal approach that creates the climate. It is my daily mood that makes the weather. I possess tremendous power to make life miserable or joyous. I can be a tool of torture or an instrument of inspiration. I can humiliate or humor, hurt or heal. And in all situations, it is my response that decides whether a crisis is escalated or de-escalated, and a person is humanized or dehumanized. If we treat people as they are, we make them worse. If we treat people as they ought to be, we help them become what they are capable of becoming. We have the tendency to miscalculate or even underestimate the impact of our poor decision-making processes. Most of these stress us, and most of these stresses that we have were product of our poor choices. Let me tell you my first job. I was a teacher. I taught college students in a maiden college. I had a very loving community with a great mentor boss. Then I was told by my mom, one of them, to transfer to a public school, be a teacher there because it pays more and it is more stable. So I agreed. I left my former school, went to a public school, and became a depth ed teacher for 7 years. But for those 7 years, I felt so miserable. Why? Because I did not have two things in my new work: a loving environment and great boss mentor. So from then on, I made sure I make intelligent decisions aligned with my values. And now, if I may add, to fortify your psychological immune system, seek out for three types of life: the pleasant life, the engaged life, and the meaningful life. The pleasant life is about amplifying positive emotions and acquiring the skills to do it. The engaged life is one where you discover your highest strengths and reshape your life to make the most of them in relationships, in your leisure, work, and everything else. The meaningful life involves utilizing them to belong to and serve something you believe is larger than yourself. Third, I learned to grow every day. And my most current lessons are these, and let me share them with you. They all came from Robin Sharma, the author of 5 a.m. Club and the monk who sold his his Ferrari. Um, he said that your I can is more important than your IQ. Can you type that on the chat box? My I can is more important than my IQ. When you feel like quitting, it's the time you must commit to continue. Sometimes you feel like you want to quit. Sometimes I feel like I want to quit. And when that feeling comes to me, I tell myself this is the best time to keep doing what I do. And the third of the lessons that I'm learning that makes me grow every day is I break free from the digital distraction so I can reconnect with myself. I give myself some digital detoxification, as I say. I do my meditation, I do my big quiet time, I do my quiet moments because that is essential for me. Know that deep within you is the ability to learn and grow. Fourth, I allow gratitude to take over. When I finally accepted that my events and my 2020 well-planned year is not happening, instead of feeling helpless and angry, I allowed gratitude to take over. Fifth, and finally, I celebrate every moment of joy. I'd like to say that again. I celebrate every moment of joy. And how do I do it? I have an ABC for this. A, I appreciate the good and the bad that happens to me. B, I buy more positivity in any given situation. C, I care deeply. This is what I do every day. I write 3 moments of joy that I witness and experience. And I'm going to challenge you today to do the same. Do this every day. Write 3 moments of joy that you witness and experience and see how your life, your mindset, and mileage can change and improve. In closing, I wish to share with you a poem written by Portia Nelson in the hope that wherever you are today in terms of your mindset, you find a new chapter that works for you and the future you hope to live. Autobiography in 5 short chapters by Portia Nelson. Chapter 1. I walk down the street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I am lost. I'm helpless. It isn't my fault. It takes me forever to find a way out. Chapter 2. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place, but it isn't my fault. It takes a long time to get out. Chapter 3. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it there. I still fall in. Now it's a habit. My eyes are open. I know where I am. It is my fault. I should get out immediately. Chapter 4. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. And chapter 5. I walk down another street. Here's to your new fortified mindset and more creative mindages. And I hope you find your chapter 5. We all walk down another street. I wish to share with you the gifts of reading that I have. And I'm sharing with you these books that had kept me sane for the last many months over the pandemic. 5 a.m. Club, The Silva Mind Control Method, The Unschooled Mind, Learned Optimism, Daring Greatly, Last Child in the Woods, Atomic Habits, 0 to 1, The Little Prince, and Self-Mastery. Thank you, GPA, Global Advanced Professional Advancement Group, for this wonderful invitation. Carpe diem, everyone. Thank you.